Welcome. Good evening. How you doing? Welcome again. Welcome to another GED Math Monday. So, what have you been working on this week? I know you said quadratic equations, and how about you, Brandy? Anything?
No, I was the one with the quadratic equation.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah,
That's okay.
Holly.
Just really looking over kind of what we went over with everything else, not really anything in specific where my son's been sick. So
Okay.
yeah.
All right. So let's get started. Let's start with quadratic equations. First of all, what is a quadratic equation? So, first of all, this is what you see on the screen right now is right from my ebook. Okay. Quadratic equation of the second degree, meaning it contains at least one term that is squared. That's the highest degree it can be. Standard form is ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. Okay. Another important thing, a quadratic equation can have up to two solutions. Okay. So the first way that we're going to learn tonight is how to solve a quadratic equation by factoring. So first, let's look at this example. X squared minus 2x minus 15. Let me open up a blank page. X squared minus 2x minus 15. So x squared minus 2x minus 15. Now, if you don't see equal to 0, assume that it's equal to 0. If you see if it's a quadratic expression, assume that it's equal to 0, make it an equation. Okay. So we got x squared minus 2x minus 15. So first of all, let's see if this is in standard form. Ax squared plus bx plus c. Okay. So first of all, my first question, is this in standard form? Is this a,
Yes.
yes, it is. So let's identify a coefficient. So what coefficient is in front of the x squared?
1.
1. What coefficient is in front of the x?
Oh, I just lost the thing.
Not 2,
-2.
-2. And what is c?
Is that 15 or -15?
-15. Okay.
Oh, I
So
can't even see.
so that's important. Just like we did the standard form of a linear equation, we had to find the a, b, and c. This is very similar. When you get a quadratic equation, you want to identify a, b, and c. So first of all, if a is equal to 1, right, I want you to factor c. Okay, c is -15. So I want you to find the factor pairs of -15. So what two values can we multiply together to get -15? So again, I'm gonna model how I do it. Okay, I start with 1. 1 times what will give you -15?
-15.
-15. Not hard at all. 2 does not go into 15. 3
No,
does go into 15. 3
yeah,
times what will give you -15?
-5.
-5. So 4 doesn't go into 15. 5 goes into 15. So if you notice, we've already got all our factors of 15. 1, 3, 5, and 15. Right? So why did we stop? Because I can do 5 times -3, right?
Mhm.
But what you should recognize is when I draw this t, is that we're gonna have two values or two each pair on one side, but then on this right side, we're going to change the
Mhm.
signs. So instead of 1 and -15, we're going to have -1 and +15. Everybody understand that?
Yeah.
Yes.
And we're going to have -3 and +5. Everybody understand that?
Yes.
So again, identify A, B, and C. That's your first step. Your second step, if A is equal to 1, to find the factor pairs of C, right? Yeah, and that's why I start with 1, because I go straight down so I don't miss any, right? So now we found the factor pairs. Now we want to find the factor pair that when we
Said,
combine them is going to give us -2? What
mm-hmm.
pair, when we combine them, is going to give us -2?
3 and -5.
3 and -5. Okay, so 3 minus 5 equal -2. That tells you the pair that's going to factor this quadratic equation. So we have a +3 and a -5. So we're going to have x plus 3, x minus 5. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is the quadratic equation factor. Okay. Now, the problem is normally you just don't factor quadratic equation to factor. You factor it to solve it. But on the GED, they will ask you to factor the quadratic equation and it will ask you to solve the quadratic equation. You have to be ready for both. Okay. Now, to solve this quadratic equation, we have to find the zeros.
Mm-hmm.
What values of x would make this evaluate to 0? Well, that's kind of easy because it's two terms and I'm multiplying. So I just need the opposite of each term inside the parentheses. So the opposite of +3 is what?
-3.
-3. And the opposite of -5 is what?
+5.
+5.
+5. So this, now I'm going to graph it for you. You don't have to graph a quadratic equation on GED. But what this tells you is this is -3. And this is not going to be drawn to scale.
Wow.
I just want to show you, right? That means that this at -3 and +5,
Mm-hmm.
that this parabola, that's where it's going to cross the x-axis. Okay, so when we talk about a quadratic equation, when you graph it, it forms a parabola, a U. And remember, I told you can have up to 2 solutions. So here, where it crosses the x-axis are the 2 solutions. Now, okay, let's check it. Let's check it to make sure. Again, and this is why I told you, even though quadratic equations may only have 2 equations, multiplying binomials will be on your exam. So let's check it. How can we check it? We check it by multiplying binomials. So we're going to multiply these to check it, to make sure we got the same quadratic equation we started with. X plus 3 times x minus 5. So the shortcut that I'm going to tell you is that when you see the coefficients of the variables are 1, all you do is combine the 2 terms in the middle and multiply the 2 terms in the middle. Hold on, Mr. Tinsley. What do you mean by that? So, see these 2 terms here? Well, -5 plus 3 is -2. 3 times -5 is -15. Does everybody see that? Okay. So now watch this. I'm going to use this as my coefficient for my middle term. X squared minus 2x. This term, this is where I got the coefficient of the middle term. -15. Hold on, Mrs. Tinsley. Well, you gave us the shortcut, but you never showed us that before. You're right. So let me rewind. And let's do it by hand. I'm giving you the shortcut. So when you see the coefficients of 1, you have a quick way to be able to do it. So if we want to do it the long way, it'd be x times x, which is x squared. X times -5 is -5x. 3 times x is positive 3x. Plus 3 times -5 is -15. What you should notice now is that you have like terms, terms that you can combine together. So we're going to bring down the x squared. -5 plus 3 is a -2. Didn't we get the same exact answer? We got the same exact answer. So again, this is the things you want to do. Who just checked in? Who's admin?
It's real.
How you doing, Rel?
What up, man? I'm trying to send you my GD like score and stuff, but it's tripping. I'm about to send it to the email.
Okay, good. So x squared minus 2x minus 15. So, okay. Now, quadratic equations on the GED are considered difficult problems. So if you can't easily factor it or easily solve it, right? What I would do is I would skip it until I finished the exam, I would skip it and flag it for review, and then come back to it when I finish, because quadratic equations are considered difficult problems. Now, if you have my ebook, I'll show you how to plug A, B, and C, and then plug your quadratic formula. Okay, hold on, Mr. Tenzi. Hold on. You talking about factoring? You're talking about solving a quadratic equation. Now you're talking about a quadratic formula? Yeah, so we know our answers, right? We know our answers are -3 and -5. We already know our answers. But now I'm going to show you the quadratic formula. And this is why the GED considers solving a quadratic equation a difficult problem. And my advice to you is that if you see a quadratic equation, and they ask you to solve it, I would probably flag it for review, skip it until I finish the exam. Now, if you go through my course and you understand it and you know how to use the calculator, then don't skip it, because then it's easy to do. But watch this. So first of all, now this is the long way. You can solve any quadratic equation this way. Sometimes it may be difficult to factor a quadratic equation, but you can solve every quadratic equation this way. Remember, identify your three: A equal 1, B equal -2, C equal -15. Does anybody have their formula sheet handy? Does anybody have their formula sheet handy? Nobody has their formula sheet handy? Okay, let me see if I got it open. I might not have it because it's been a while since I opened it up.
I got it.
You got it? Okay.
Yeah.
What is the quadratic formula?
Quadratic formula is x equals -b, this plus, yeah, absolute value, I'm guessing, b
Square root.
square root, b squared minus 4ac over 2a.
Now, you must be asking, hold on, Mr. Tenzi, if you started writing before he finished, you already knew it, right? Yes, I did already knew it. Already know it. But the reason why I said, do you have your formula sheet off? Because anytime you practice for your GED math exam, you should have your formula sheet, scrap paper, and your calculator out at all times. I don't care if it's GED Math Monday. I don't care if you're practicing. You should always have your formula sheet, your scrap paper, and your calculator. So what makes this easy now, or makes it easier, is because we identified A, B, and C. This is a 3 to 4, maybe a 10-minute problem, believe it or not. This is why, and I'm going to show you why I say if you can't easily factor and solve the quadratic equation, if you had to use the quadratic formula, I would flag it for review and I would skip it. So let's go through the steps. So minus B. So minus B is -2, plus or minus the square root of B squared. Remember, I'm putting it in parentheses so I don't make any mistakes. B squared -4. A is 1, C is -15. All over 2A. So we can simplify some more. 2 negatives make a plus. So we got 2 plus or minus. -2 squared is -2 times -2, which is 4. -4 times -15 is a +60. All over 2 times 1, which is 2. Everybody understand what I just did? All I did was substitute the values A, B, and C into the quadratic formula. Now,
Yeah.
again, if you don't understand, if you have troubles with sign numbers, this could be a source of an error, correct?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
So now let's go to the next step. I'm going to come up here. X equal 2 plus the square root of 64 over 2. Now, if you listen to me, you should know all your squares and your square roots. What is the square root of 64?
8.
8. Okay, this is where this gets a little difficult. Because remember, I told you a quadratic formula has up to 2 solutions. This plus and minus what you're going to do is you're going to do two calculations. You're going to do 2 plus 8 over
Yes,
2
sir.
and 2 minus 8 over 2. Does everybody understand that?
Yes.
Then
I
you're going to have
understand it
10
now.
over 2, and you're going to have minus 6 over 2. So this has two answers. 10 over 2 is 5. Minus 6 over 2 is -3. Did we get the same exact answers?
Yep.
So if you know
Yeah.
how to factor it, it only takes you 1 to 2 minutes. Hold on, Mr. Tenzi. Ho. What you mean it's only going to take 1 to 2 minutes? We just did the problem. In both ways you just did it. Didn't take us 1 to 2 minutes. What are you talking about, Mr. Tinsley? It didn't take you 2 minutes. Well, I'm about to show you. Remember, I told you, each one of you, if I ever did a one-on-one, one of the first things I said is make sure you know your multiplication tables.
Yes.
Now,
Yep. This is true.
watch this. Now I'm gonna go back. We now I showed you the first way we factored. We got 5 and -3. I showed you the quadratic formula. We did 5 and -3. But watch this. What I told you. This is a less than a minute problem. Watch this. I'm gonna erase this. And again, we still identifying A, B, and C. But if you know your multiplication table, what numbers can you multiply together that you're going to get 15, right? And get 2 if you combine them. Well, that's easy. Some variants of 5 and 2, because 5 and 3, because 5 times 3 is 15. 5 minus 3 is -2. So how do I know which to choose? Because your negative is going to give you a negative number in the middle. -5 plus 3 will give you -2. So now I already know that -5 and 3, if I multiply them together, I get -15. If I combine them together, I get -2. So now I know it's x minus 5, x plus 3. Now that's fact. That only took 10 seconds. My zeros, or to find the solutions to solve this quadratic equation, I need to find my zeros. The opposite of -5 is +5. The opposite of +3 is -3. Just solved it less than 15 seconds. Hold on, Mr. Tinsley. I took the GED. They didn't give me a quadratic equation that I could easily factor. They gave me some crazy quadratic formula. And if you, now, remember I told you, every quadratic equation can be solved using the quadratic formula. Now, if you took that 1999 and bought my ebook, this is what you should have learned. And I'm going to do it for you. And then you're going to run through it and make sure you know how to do it. Because again, they may be more difficult problems. 1 store A, -2 store B, -15 store C. That's just going through my ebook, learn how to store variable. Now, how do I put the quadratic formula into my calculator? Very easy. ND minus B. Now, you can't do plus or minus, so we got to do them separately. So I'm going to do plus B squared minus 4AC all over 2A. Now, if you never knew how to do quadratic formulas, I just got my first answer. Let me clear the screen. Didn't we get 5 as the first answer? Now, watch this. I go back up into my quadratic formula and I change the members plus minus. So I'm going to change that plus to a minus. So we know how to use our arrows to go to our formulas. I'm going to change that to a minus, hit enter. My second answer is -3. I'm done. Less than a minute. Okay. Listen, factoring, solving a quadratic equation can be done easily using the calculator. I would spend time. And I'm not saying I don't want you to learn how to solve a quadratic formula. I do. But watch how long it takes you. So I want you to learn how to multiply binomials. I want you to learn how to factor a quadratic equation. But if you get a coefficient 2x squared minus 5, 2x minus 5 times x plus 3, or 2x squared minus 10x plus 9, if you get a quadratic equation like that, there's two ways I want you to solve it. For example, let me show you real quick. Hold on, let me get a problem together real quick. Hold on, let me write one down. So if I had a problem like this, so A is 2, B is minus 1, C is negative 15. Now, you can either plug into your quadratic formula and spend 3 to 4 minutes trying to solve it without getting the negative squared and getting your sign numbers messed up, or you could plug it directly into your calculator. A is 2, B is minus 1, C is negative 15. But this is what I want you to truly understand. You have to know how to multiply binomials. So 2x minus 5 times x minus 3, 2x plus 5 times x plus 3, minus 3, 2x minus 5, x plus 3, and 2x plus 5, x minus 3. So you will see a problem where they tell you to factor this quadratic equation, but they give you multiple choice. What I would recommend you doing, if you don't go through the ebook and know how to store A, B, and C and plug them into the quadratic form, that's the first way I would tell you to learn how to do it. I would sit there and I would do this problem, the problem I just told you, with your calculator right next to you, and I would do it until I got it. And then I would go in my book and I would do another practice problem until you got it down. I would spend time learning how to solve a quadratic equation using my calculator, because I'd rather spend 5 or 10 minutes learning how to do it than spending 5 to 10 minutes on your exam, and it's frustrating. But the next thing I need you to understand, but if they give you this and they tell you the fact, they give you this quadratic equation, they give you the multiple choice, right? The multiple choice, one of the answers are there. Instead of trying to solve this by factoring or solve this using a quadratic formula, just use multiply binomials. So first of all, I know my last term is negative 15. That means my last two terms must give me negative 15. Negative 5 times negative 3 is what?
And positive 2.
Positive 15. So it can be A,
No,
right?
it's 5 times -3.
And I wrote the same thing 2 times.
Yeah.
So we're going to make this a plus right here.
Okay.
Plus 5 times plus 3. What's plus 5 times plus 3?
15.
15. So again, we know it can't be D just by looking at the last term. We just eliminated. So if I didn't know how to do this problem at all, what did I just do? I just improved my chances to get this right to 50%. But now if you know how to multiply binomials, 2x times x is 2x squared. 2x times minus 3 is minus 6x. 5 times x is positive 5x. Well, right there, you should see that right there. That's going to be minus x.
Negative, yep.
2x squared minus x. We already know 5 times minus 3 is minus 15. We are done. 15 to 30 seconds, we just factored that quadratic equation. Okay, hold on. So let me summarize what I told you. Okay, first of all, the easiest way to solve a quadratic equation is by factor. Learn how to factor a quadratic equation. The second way, so first of all, in order to factor a quadratic equation, you also must learn how to multiply binomials, which is going to be a question. So solving a quadratic equation and multiplying binomials even though they're similar concepts and they go together, they're going to be two separate questions. So again, being able to factor a quadratic equation is first. Being able to use the calculator to solve a quadratic, using the quadratic formula is second, right? Because when you try to solve a quadratic equation, I'm telling you, it's going to take you 3, 4, 5 minutes at a time. It's not worth the time to spend that 5 minutes before you finish your exam. So if you don't know how to solve a quadratic equation by factor, or do not know how to solve it using the TI-30XS calculator, what I suggest you do is flag it for review, skip it, and come back to it when you're finished, when you finish the exam, because this problem is going to take you 3, 4, 5 minutes. Let's see if we can find a difficult quadratic equation so I can really show you what I'm talking about. Let's see. Did everybody receive the GED study guide that I sent today, this afternoon?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
And it's a
That,
problem on there I wanted to ask you about too.
oh, no doubt, no doubt. Let's look at one right here. Look at this problem right
And it's a quadratic one.
here. Look at this. 3x squared plus 4x minus 5, right? When you factor it, you get 3x minus 1 plus 5. What, Mr. Tinsley? How do you factor this problem? To factor this problem, 3x squared plus 14 makes, I'm telling you, it would take you 5 to 10 minutes. I'm telling you, it takes me 3 minutes. It takes me 3 minutes.
And these are going to be on there for sure, for sure.
It's going to be on there. So identify your A, B, and C. A is 3, B is 14, C is -5. And then plug it into your calculator. Now, Mr. Tinsley, hold on. I don't have the ebook. How would I do this problem? I'm going to show you. And then I'm just going to do it. I'm not even going to explain it. Just going to do it. Mr. Tinsley, why would you do something like that? Why would you just go through a problem and not explain it? Every time I come on GED Math Monday, you explain a problem in detail, and I go home and I understand it. Because what I'm telling you is you're going to waste 5 to 10 minutes, 10 minutes on your GED that's not worth the time. Learn how to do it with your calculator, but I'm going to do it. Watch this. Let me go to my blank page, and I'm going to show you how long this problem takes. And this is me as your instructor showing you how to do it. And I'm going to show you how long it takes. And this is me knowing how to do it. So first of all, I identify this is a quadratic equation. How do I identify this as a quadratic equation? Because my highest power is to the second power. Does everybody understand that? Okay. I identify my A, B, and C. So the coefficient of x squared is 3. My coefficient of my x is 14, and my constant is -5. Does everybody understand how I identify A, B, and C? So, Mr. Tins, there's two ways you just went over. We could factor it, or we can throw it in the quadratic form. You're 100% right. But I thought you said when you factored, I thought you said if A is equal to 1. Well, A is not equal to 1. A is 3. If A is not 1, you have to multiply A and C together. And you have to find a factor pair. So 3 times C, 3 times -5 is -15. And you got to find a factor pair. So 1 and -15, 3 and -5, -1 and 15, -3 and 5. Oh, Mr. Tinsley, that's not that hard. That's what we did before. I can kind of understand that. Okay. So what you should remember is what term is going to give us 14? 15 minus 1. So I'm going to have 3x squared minus x plus 15x minus 5. Oh, listen, what just happened? What did you just do? I just exchanged 14x for these two values. See that? Because 15 minus 1 is 14. So this is called factoring by grouping. Okay? So you got to group it. Let's see if we can get it. So if I look at this, I can pull out an X. Everybody see that? And it might not be the right way. I can pull out an X. If I pull out an X, I got 3X minus 1. And here I can pull out a 5. I got 5, 3X minus 1. So I factored out an X. What is the highest exponent I could take out of X squared and X? It's the lowest exponent, so I can pull out an X. So if I take 3X squared and I divide by X, right? I get 3X. That's why I got that 3X. Minus X over X is -1. That's why I got this -1 from. If I got 15X minus 5, if I pull out a 5, 15 divided by 5 is 3X, and 5 divided by 5 is 1. Oh my God, Mr. Tinsley, my brain hurt. I know it's hurting. I already know. You're looking at this feeling like, oh my God, I'm never going to pass the J-Day. Oh my God. I can't understand this. Nah. Why do I think this way? I can't do it. No, this is why I'm telling you. Because then once you see a shared factor of 3X minus 1, you then combine these two terms. So you get X plus 5 times 3X minus 1. That would be your ultimate answer, right? How much easier if they give you the multiple choice to multiply binomials out? That would take you far less time. Look how hard this was. How do I know what to put the term in the middle? Which one is first, which one is second? It's going to take you a lot of work. This factoring quadratic equations and actually doing quadratic equations in high school, they do it over 2 to 3 week period. But we don't have 2 to 3 weeks to study for one concept.
No,
So what I'm
no.
telling you to do is open that ebook, go to quadratic equations, learn how to factor a quadratic equation, learn how to multiply binomials, and learn how to plug A, B, and C into this a calculator and solve it. Because why? How do I find my zeros from this, Mr. Tinsley? How do I solve it? You factored it. This is fact. How do I solve it? Because before, when I had X minus 3, X plus 5, it was easy to find the zeros. So here, to solve this, it's easy to find the opposite of plus 5, minus 5. That's easy. Well, how do I find, what is 3? How do I find the opposite of 3X minus 1? That's not that easy. You take the opposite of minus 1, which is plus 1, and put it over the coefficient of X, which is 3. So this quadratic equation, the two terms that solve this quadratic equation are 5 and positive 1/3. Oh, oh my goodness, Mr. Tinsley, are you kidding me? Are you telling me? Okay, now I'm gonna show you the easiest way to solve the equation on the GED exam. Let me see if I can. Hopefully, I can find it. Let's see. Hopefully, I can find it. Hopefully, it's one here. Hold on. Let me see. Hopefully. So remember, I told you there's multiplying binomials right there. There's your factor right there. Look at that. Factor 3x squared minus 10x minus 8. Multiply x plus 8 times x plus 4. It's telling you it's on the exam. I'm hoping they got a
This came from the GED website right here. Huh?
yes. So what I did was this is the form. I mean, this is the PDF that I just sent you. Okay. This is the PDF that I just sent you. It doesn't have the answers on it.
Okay.
And the reason why I didn't put that, I removed the answers, is because I want
Mm-mm.
you to be able to use it as a study guide so you can solve the problems and see what you get. Now, look at this problem right here. Quadratic equations. So look at the example. It says, solve a quadratic equation with one variable. For example, 3x squared plus 2x minus 8. Solve 4x squared minus x minus 5. I can tell you right now, this would take you forever. I'm telling you. I'm telling you, it would take you forever. Now, watch this. Watch the magic. I can't tell you enough. And I
Need
know
a
I
calculator.
know it's a long book. I know the ebook is 100 and something, 130 pages, whatever how long it is. I
It's
would take
worth it.
2 weeks
It's
to learn
worth
how to
it.
do it. Watch this. I'm gonna show you how to solve this quadratic equation, to find an answer to this quadratic equation in less than 1 minute. Watch this.
Mhm.
So I know the answer, so I'm gonna start with D. I already know the answer. So I'm gonna say 1 store X, enter. So I'm looking at D, it says X equal 1, X equal 5/4. I'm gonna store that value as 1, then I'm gonna plug this quadratic expression in. 4x squared minus
Mhm.
X minus 5. If that is a solution to this quadratic equation, I should get what is my answer?
You should get 0.
I guess it gets 0 because it says equals 0. That's what an equation means. Both sides come out to the same
Mhm.
thing. So if it says
Yep.
equals 0, this expression that I have on my calculator should come out to 0. If it said 5, I should get 5. If it said 8, I should get
Mhm.
8. But right now it says 0. So I'm going to hit enter. Did I get 0?
No, you got
No.
-2.
I got -2. So I know 1 is not a solution. This is not a solution. Because I know 1 is not a solution, I know B is not a solution. Does everybody understand that?
Yep.
Now, I'm going to use -1. -1 store X. Now, I don't have to write that expression over again. All I have to do is change my value, go back into my quadratic expression, hit enter once, hit enter twice. Is that equal to 0?
Yes.
So I know -1 is an answer. So now, is it A or C? I have 5/4 and 4/5. Mr. Tins, how can you put a fraction in? If you went through my ebook, you should know how to put a fraction with this
You
calculator.
can.
In D,
Yep.
4/5, get out of the fraction, store X, enter. Go back up to your quadratic expression, press enter 2 times. Did I get 0?
No.
No. So now I know it's not that. So it can't, so this is the
504.
correct answer.
Yep.
Less than a minute. Learning how to store a variable in this calculator. Listen, that's one of the most useful tools that I can give you right now. Why? Because you can solve so many problems, because most of algebra is solving equations, quadratic equations, linear equations, area, volume. Mr. Tinsley, we didn't go over all that. But if the answer is one of the multiple choice and you know the formula, one of the ways you can solve it is just plug each of the multiple choice in. That's what I just showed you. So hold on, I can do that with area, volume. You can do that with any equation, because remember, what is algebra? Solving for unknown. So in any question they give you, and most of the times in algebra, is going to ask you to solve for a variable. And then they're going to ask you to solve it. They're going to give you the multiple choice. Hold on, Mr. Are you sure about that? Are you sure about that? Watch this. I'm going to show you right now, because I don't think you believe me. So I want to show you. So first of all, let me maximize this, take a screenshot. Now, is quadratic equations important? Yes, they are. If I was your math teacher in college or in high school, we would spend the 2 or 3 weeks, or in college we only got a week, but in high school you got 3 to 4 weeks on quadratic equations, about 2 3 weeks on quadratic equations. Yes, I would go through every step and make sure you know how to do it. But we are adults, and we don't have a whole year or 3 4 weeks just to work on one concept, right? So watch this. I'm gonna open up another study guide that is given to us by GD. Let me find it. Here we go. Hold on, Mr. Tenzi. Hold on. We went from quadratic equations. Now, why are you just going to this other concept? Because what I need to show you is that once you learn how to store variables, that did not work. It did not open up. Once you know how to store a variable, where did you go? Should be the first one. It's not. Where did you go? Oh my goodness, look at this. This is ridiculous. I just opened it up and now it's going. There we go. And this again, this is a. I think I sent this link out to everybody. Let's find this one. This thing is there right here. Okay. Office uses paper drinking cups in the shape of a cone with dimensions as shown. 2 3/4 is your diameter. 4 is my height. Does everybody understand that? How would I find the radius of this cone? Does anybody know? How would I find the radius of this cone?
You would have
Pi
to
times-
divide the diameter by 2.
And how do I do that on a calculator? I mean, because for example, when you're in class and they gave you a diameter 8, you said, "Oh, the radius is 4." The diameter is 10. You said the radius is 5. The diameter is 2. The radius is 1. What do you do when it gives you 2 3/4? How do you find half of 2 3/4? Can anybody tell me what half of 2 3/4 is? Just like right off your top of your head. No, right? This is why this problem gives people so many issues. But watch this. Does anybody know the formula to find the volume of a cone?
He got his formula papers.
Go to your
It's
formula.
surface
What is the
area. It's surface area equals pi times.
not surface area. It
Volume.
says, what is the volume?
Of the cylinder, right?
Is that a
Volume
cylinder?
equals, no,
What does
it's
it
a
tell
cone.
you?
Well, volume equals 1/3 area of the base times the height.
Yeah.
Or pi r squared h over 3.
Yeah.
What you should notice is this is a circle. This is where they get the pi r squared from. The height, just like a cylinder. Because like you said, see that cylinder right there? If I draw a cylinder right there, see that? Well, that's 1, 2, 3 parts. We only want 1 part of that 3. That's why it's divided by 1/3. Most people don't know that, but I'm telling you right now. So again, hold on, Mr. Tinsley. How do you find half of 2 3/4? You don't have to. You should know to find half of any number is dividing by what? Dividing by 2.
By 2.
Dividing by 2. So I'm going to take my formula and I'm going to plug it in. I'm not going to waste time doing any of this. I'm going to do, watch this. So I'm going to use the second equation on the bottom. So I'm going to hit ND. I know what pi is. What's pi?
3.14.
3.14. My radius, I have no idea what it is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in parentheses, and I'm going to put in parentheses 2.75 divided by 2.
By 2. Yeah.
And I need to square it. Times height, which is 4. Put that in parentheses so it knows to multiply. You really don't need it, but I'm going to put it. Did everybody understand what I just did? I didn't know what half of 2 3/4. I can't do that in my mind, but I know finding half of anything is just dividing by 2. I know if I put in parentheses, it's going to do that first because my order of operations is, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. So it's going to do the 2.75. Hold on, Mr. Tensley, where'd you get 2.75? I thought it was 2 3/4.
3/4.
Because 3/4, the decimal equivalent of 3/4 is 0.75. Now divide by 3. Get out of my fraction. I'm going to press enter. I'm done. Not even a minute. I'm done. If I can't stress enough, you should know what types of problems give you difficulty. If you know they give you difficulty, you need to open this ebook, give yourself the week to 2 weeks, make sure you learn those, get strong in those areas that are your weaknesses. And you'll be able to pass this test within a short amount of time. Okay, so this is listen, and I'm not just telling you, go buy the ebook to fatten my pockets. I'm telling you, that's not it. I'm telling you, I'm trying to save you time and effort. Just think about this. If you take your test and fail, it's going to cost you $40. It's going to
Whew.
cost you $30 to take the exam and $10 for the retake. What I'm trying to tell you to do for $19.99, study for about 2 to 3 weeks the ebook, and then go to my website and practice for 2 to 3 weeks. You're going to pass. So instead of costing you money, I'm saving you money. But you got to put the effort in. You got to put the time in. So what I would tell you to do is I would take this ebook. It's 17 lessons. That's a little bit more than 2 weeks. Do a lesson a day. Then when you come back to take the practice test, when you come back to my course, you're going to fly through a lot of these problems. 3 things I need you to do. Every time you sit down and you practice for GED math, I need your scrap paper, I need your calculator, I need your formula
Okay.
sheet right in front of you. I need those 3 things. Okay? Whether you buy the ebook, whether you use the calculator, that's up to you. But you need your scrap paper, your calculator, and your formula sheet out.
Okay.
So when I tell you, so I had 2 more people pass this week. I'm gonna get it up on the social media. I had 2 more people pass this week. No, 3 more people pass this week. I had 2 math and 1 science. I helped the young lady with science. But what I'm telling you is, listen to what I'm telling you. Invest in yourself. I know we have kids. I know we have jobs. But you need your diploma to get a better job. You need a better job to take care of your kids. So understand the cycle. You got to say something got to be sacrificed. I'm going to have to take time from something else because this is how important this diploma is to me. Now, she's not here tonight, but one of the young ladies that passed took her acuplacer for entrance in the college exam. And it was her highest score, where math was her lowest subject. She went to the acuplacer, couldn't use her calculator, and got her highest score was in math. She just sent me a long paragraph in a text message. You can have this. I still have people using the site for their college mathematics courses, for teaching, helping their kids in their high school courses. You will have access to it as much as you want, but you got to decide something has to be sacrificed. I got to give something up for an hour a day so I can get my diploma in the next 30 to 60 days. That's what it's going to take. This is what I want you to think about. Why haven't you passed? Because you study. Oh, yeah, I'm going hard. Oh, I got to do this for myself for 20, 30 days. Then you stop for whatever reason that is. Then you start all over again and you realize, oh, and I don't remember how to do it. And you got to learn it again. And you put yourself in this vicious cycle that goes over and over and over again. Right now, I need you to give me 30 strong days, and I'm telling you, you're going to pass this exam. An hour a day. You're going to pass the exam. That's what I need from you. If you want to pass the exam, that's what I'm asking. Give you 30 days. And I don't care what level of math you're on. Go through that ebook for the first 2 weeks. Learn how to use the calculator and make it your friend. Do the practice problems. So then when you come to Monday's class, any questions that you had problems on, you can ask. So before 7 o'clock, I know, Sharon, you said you had a quadratic equation that you had needed help with.
Actually, it wasn't the quadratic. It was the binomial one. It's like now I was confused on how to do
Was
it.
it on the Canvas
Yeah.
course?
No, it was on the thing you sent us.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Let's look at it. Hold on.
Yeah. It was the 3x minus 4y minus 4x minus 3y. And I was wondering, I guess I got
This
confused
one,
as to no, 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 no.
that's multiplication. So you're talking about
No,
this one.
it's the first one. I think it's a
This one.
very yeah. Now,
Okay.
what I didn't understand was, you see how you have the minus sign right there, right between the two. Now, what my question was, do you take that and I guess
I'm gonna make it
'Cause
real easy for you. Watch this. So
go
I'm
ahead,
gonna make
go
I'm
ahead.
gonna make it real easy
Cause
for
I
you.
did it, and I don't know if I did it.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
make
I
it
don't know.
real easy for you. If you see a minus sign
Do you?
on
Okay.
the outside of parentheses,
Yeah,
just change the sign of everything inside.
that's what I. Okay. Okay.
3x minus 4y. This becomes minus 4x. This becomes plus 3y.
Okay. 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 Okay.
Now, like
Okay.
terms, right there, right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
3 minus 4 is
So
negative
anytime,
1
okay. So anytime there's a negative in between the parentheses,
on the outside of
that means
parentheses, not between
on
the
the outside of
parentheses. Outside.
on the
On the
outside of the
outside.
parentheses, that means just change it up.
Just change the sign of everything inside. This is minus x. This is
Excuse me.
minus 4y and plus 3y. That's, again, minus 4 plus 3 is minus 1. So minus y. So this whole
Right.
answer
Right.
is
Right.
minus
Right.
x minus
That's what.
y.
Right. Okay. That's what I. Okay. Okay. That's all I.
But they love using that. What I'm telling you, when they tell you to evaluate expressions, when they tell you to combine two terms, a
I
lot of
didn't get.
times that is that they give you that negative. They want to see if you know your sign numbers. What you have
Yeah.
to realize is, watch this. Let me show you again. What if I changed it up and I had 3x minus 4y minus 2 times 4x minus 3y? You know how to do this problem because you're
Yeah.
gonna multiply.
Yeah.
Remember what did I tell you? That's really a minus 1.
Okay.
If I multiply any numbers, I don't care what the number is. If I multiply by minus 1, remember I told you math is about patterns.
Yes, it is. Yep.
If I multiply any number by negative 1, I get the opposite of that number.
Okay.
So
Yep.
when you see that negative on the outside, that's what you're doing. You're changing the sign. You're changing to the opposite of that number. That's it. So minus 4x becomes minus 4x minus 3y becomes minus 4x and
Plus.
positive 3y.
Got you. Got you. Okay. That's the only question I needed answered.
Now, I'm going to go back to this last one since we got 2 minutes. Since we're talking about multiplying binomials, since we've been talking about quadratic equations, this is the one I thought you were talking about. This one here. This one, right? No, actually, I must have went past it. Hold on.
Think you did.
When you try to rush, you can't find what you're looking for. That's what always happens. Here we go, right there.
Okay.
Multiply. Well, this is the same thing.
Yep.
2x
2x
times
times
3x,
the 6x squared
6x squared. 2x times y is what?
is 2xy.
2xy. Now I'm going to
Right.
change color just so we see the difference. What's
Negative
minus
1
y times 3x?
is negative 3xy.
Now remember, hold on, Mr. Tim, what you mean 3xy? I thought it was minus y 3x. It is. But
You gotta put it in
remember,
order.
alphabetical order.
Yeah.
So coefficient goes first, then alphabetical order. So minus 3xy, and then minus y times plus y is
Negative y squared.
minus y squared. What you should notice, again, those are like terms. You should also notice they, for whatever reason, they like having minus x because they want to see if you know that you don't need the 1 in front of the variable.
Nope.
6x squared minus
X,
xy
y.
minus y squared. Remember,
Yeah.
this is your term, xy.
Mm-hmm.
6x squared minus xy. There you go. A.
That's the answer. Yep.
That's the answer. So remember, multiplying binomials, factoring a quadratic equation, and solving a quadratic equation are 3 problems that you will see on your exam guaranteed. Now, my final thing I want to say to you, you have to decide how bad you want it. I don't care if you took it 1 time, 5 times, 10 times, 17 times. I don't care if you've been preparing 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. What I'm telling you is you go through my ebook, practice on my website. In 30 to 60 days, you'll be done your math exam.
Yep.
Well, Mr. Tensley, how can you say that? You don't understand. I don't like math. Since 2015, there has been no one that I haven't helped that hasn't passed the math exam. Hold on, Mr. Tinsley. What do you mean no one? Of all the students, not one. And I don't mean not one person that haven't failed the test. I mean that haven't passed the exam. What do I mean by that? Some students say, that ebook is too long. I don't want to go through it. I don't want to practice. I don't want to put the time in. I don't count those. I count the people that come to GED Math Monday. I count the people who I see practicing. I count the people who ask questions when they didn't know how to do something. I'm not talking about the people who quit after 2 or 3 weeks because it got too hard. When it gets, because math is going to get hard, math is going to be frustrating. It's going to make you break down. Right now, I'm telling you, I will help you pass your exam. Believe what I'm telling you. All you got to do, this is why I post on my social media Facebook page. I got people who I've never met. All they did was watch a video and said, Mr. Tinsley, oh my God, I know how to do it now. When I took my test, one girl went from 137 to 161 just by watching my videos for 2 weeks. That's all she did. You got to decide right now. You got to go tomorrow. You got to write a schedule. And you got to say, this is the half an hour to an hour that I'm going to give every single day. Hold on, Mr. Tinsley. Well, on the weekends, I get my kids, and I got this, I got that. You're right. You're right. So on those 2 days when you get there, while you sitting with your kids and they playing around, do your fraction, decimal, percent equivalents. Do your squares and square roots in your head. Do your multiplication tables in your head. Identify, do your flashcards on my website, standard form, slope intercept form for linear equations. Don't give yourself excuse of why you can't do it every day. Listen, a lot of time, let me tell you what somebody told me one day. If you go to somebody's bank account, once you find out what they spend money on, you can tell what's important to them. Think about your bank account. Think what you spend money on. That's how you tell what's important. So if your kids and your family and your house and your job are important, then your diploma should almost take precedence over all of it. When this young man called me the other day, let me pause this recording. When this young man called me the other day, he said, Mr. Tinsley, I went from $7.25 an hour to $31 an hour because of my diploma, and I was able to get into welding school. In 1 year, you changed my whole entire life. Mr. Tinsley, can you come to my graduation for community college or a 4-year degree? Mr. Tinsley, listen. I had a young man tell me, he said, listen, I know I've only seen you on video, but if I'm ever in Philadelphia, can I look you up? Because he's an electrician from getting his diploma. Nurses, electricians, welders. You got to decide what you want to do. You got to decide, is getting this diploma important to you? And you got to understand that something in your life for the next 36 days are going to have to be sacrificed. So you can give that hour to an hour every day. Because guess what? Once you pass the math, I can do 2 sessions with you. You can pass your science. Literally. You know how to do linear equations, read a graph, do your tables, the slope and linear equation, all that kind of stuff. I can have you pass your science in 2 sessions with me. Bam. Decide what you want. Now listen, 7:04. I went over my time. I apologize, but I'm going to help each and every one of you finish that math exam. I'm going to. But what I need from you is that dedication. I need you to decide what you're going to sacrifice. Create that schedule. Create a schedule when you're going to study. And I'm telling you, in 30, 60 days, you'll be saying, thank you, Mr. Tinsley. And Sharon, when you taking this exam and stop playing?
I know I'm playing. I know.
So listen.
Hey, Mr. Tinsley, I sent the scores, man. So whenever you ready, like I'm ready. My schedule free, man. I'm ready, man.
Okay, so we're gonna get you. I'm gonna look at your scores. We're gonna go through a study plan, and we're gonna start our sessions. All right.
do it. Let's do it. I sent it to the past Math GED
Yep. That's the
website
one you're
though.
supposed to send it to. All right, so
Okay.
everybody have a
Okay.
wonderful night. I'm
All
here to
right,
You have
help
a
man.
you.
blessed one.
You
Okay.
too. Thank
Everybody
you
have a
so
good
much,
evening.
Mr. Tennessee.
You
You
too,
You're
too,
welcome.
sir.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye,
Thank
y'all.
you.